Today we are going to be working on the chain rule. So I've just picked out a very general worksheet that we're just going to be kind of rolling through. I'm not going to do all of them. I'm likely going to kind of bounce around, probably do the first odd ones, maybe even number 8, definitely number 9, maybe in 12. So I'll start to bounce around from there. I'll show you the answer key. They do a lot more of an expanded form. I mean, it doesn't matter in this case because we'll make it look better, but that form is pretty much what I'll be using. But we've seen previous worksheets where I like to do a more factored form and they like to do an expanded form. So let's take a look here. With the chain rule, it's just saying that when we get started, we can see this in one of two ways. We can see this as two functions that we could break up and say that we have this function here, f of x, could be x to the fifth. So the big picture is that if I took this portion away, right, the portion that we all see right away is this x cubed plus 3. Now, when we learned about composite functions back in chapter, I want to say this was 0.3, we worked on how to insert one function inside of another. So really, this could be written as f of g of x, where if we know g of x is x cubed plus 3, it goes inside your f of x, where we said f of x, okay, if I were to kind of continue with this thought process, x cubed plus 3, well, f of x being this x to the fifth, we said, okay, with that composite function, we'll just erase that bit and then work in your function. That's exactly what we have done here. Now, when it comes to differentiating, when we take your derivative, we now have to undo that process in a sense. So one way to think and work on it is to kind of see these as being two different functions in which we're going to derive. We'll take your derivative of x to the fifth, 5x to the fourth, and then we can work on your derivative of g of x, 3x squared. Now, when we do your chain rule, this says f prime of g of x times g prime. So we'll take your f prime, right? But we're going to have to work in your g of x into the following, and then we can go ahead and derive g of x. So this can be written as 5, and instead of saying x to the fourth, we're going to work in your g of x. And then we get to take your g prime of x. So we have this bit, we have this, and then we have this portion. And again, we want to fix it up, 15x squared, x cubed plus 3 to the fourth. So this is just one approach, is actually using your rule here. What I like to do is I like to kind of do it all together in one fell swoop. So if I have x cubed plus 3 all to the fifth, I think of it as kind of a treasure chest. Our treasure, right? Our goal is to derive x. But before so, I have to take care of your power rule, right? So think of it as being treasure on the inside, in which case in our treasure chest, it's most likely locked. I have to therefore unlock the box first. By doing so, I now have to apply the chain or the power rule first. I do not get to break open my treasure. Instead, I have to take care of this portion first, which I'm going to write them in different colors. You can kind of follow that thought process. So now that I've unlocked the treasure chest, right? Now we can go ahead and open the lid to your treasure chest. Now we get to derive our x. That was our mission. So now I get to derive the next part. 3x squared plus 0, or just 3x squared, to make 15x squared, x cubed plus 3, all to the fourth. And you'll notice that they come up with the exact same response. Let's try it again with the below. Again, if you like the f of g of x portion, like this actual chain rule written, I'll do that part first, and then I'll show you what I like to do. And then from there on out, I'll just repeat this process just because that is where our goal should be. All right, so our inside function, this inside will be g of x, negative 5x cubed minus 3. Your f of x, therefore, if we took away all of this, we're left with this x cubed. So let's go ahead and derive. And one more derive. Now let's bring it all together. We need this portion. F prime of g of x times g prime of x. So let's take your g or your f prime, 3x squared. Okay, that was this in pink right here. And that would be right here. But now we need to work in your g of x, which your g of x is this whole thing right here. So we need to work this portion into that particular x squared. Now let's go ahead and multiply by g prime of x. Let's go ahead and simplify. And there you go. And what I like to do, which my goal is towards the end of this lecture, this course, is that we're just going to derive from the very start. So let's go ahead and unlock your treasure chest. Now let's go ahead and derive the inside. Now that we have unlocked the chest, we can now see that this is going to be negative 15x squared. And now we can go ahead and simplify. There you go. All right, let's kind of continue on. Let's see some more unusual cases. I'll do 5 and 8 from here. So if you have any sort of root, we want to always rewrite your root to show that it has a power. And you'll notice that everything on the inside, right, is now being taken to this fourth root. In our case, we can write this as 1 over 4. That is because if we have the square root of x, or sorry, the a root of x to the b, when we write it, we have b over a. It's always the power that's on the outside that goes and does the dividing. Now for us, this 1 is coming from this whole parentheses here has just a power of 1. It would say a power of 2, 3, 8, whatever it is, it would show you what the power is on the inside. So now that we have this explicitly written, when we go ahead and perform your chain rule, just right off the bat, and again, approach it, if you still need this portion, just break it up as what we've talked about before. Now let's go ahead and perform your power rule first. Unlock the treasure chest. Haven't opened the chest yet. We can't derive x yet. Go ahead and subtract by 1. Now that you have unlocked the treasure or chest, let's go ahead and actually take the treasure. So let's go ahead and derive. Now we can go ahead and start to simplify ever so slightly. Now, anytime you have a negative exponent, this drops into the denominator. And you'll notice that this whole parentheses has a negative, so this whole thing will drop. We also have a 4 in the denominator as well. So it'll be 3/4. And now what we can do is, if we start, a good rule of thumb is if you start as a radical, you want to end as a radical. So we'll transform this one more time into a radical. Now, at the same time, we can go ahead and simplify the 12 and the 4. So we have negative 3x cubed all over our degree on the outside. That is the power that is in your denominator. Negative 3x to the 4th minus 2. And that'll all be cubed. All right, let's do number 8. Our power is already showing. In other words, if this was located down in the denominator and written as such, notice that we have something over or 1 over this amount. If we want to show your power, it has to raise all the way up into the numerator. So let's go ahead and perform your power rule first. Negative 2, negative x to the 4th, minus 3, minus 1 for the power. So that's at negative 3 already. Now that you've unlocked the treasure chest, let's go ahead and derive the inside. Let's go ahead and combine. We have 8x. Let's take care of that. Throw it in the denominator. And we're done. We'll do, let's see, 9. Just do 9, 10, maybe even 12. Let's take a look at 9. So 9 has a combination of things. We have first product rule to recall. And then while we derive, we also have to take care of your chain rule. So first things first, the product rule, f of x is going to be that first parentheses. So let's go ahead and take the first derivative of it. The second derivative, or sorry, the g of x will be your second parentheses. My apologies. So when we go to derive, we have to bring down the 4, change your power, and now we can go ahead and take the derivative. I would say simplify first, so make this a negative 32x. Now let's go ahead and recall your product rule. This says that we're going to take f prime of x, multiply it to g of x, plus just f of x and multiply it to g prime of x. So let's put it all together. F prime times g plus f times your product rule, or your power, what was that called? Chain rule. Now let's go ahead and see what we can simplify. So we can take out an x for sure. We can also take out some of these right here, and we'll only take out 3, so we'll leave behind just 1. And that should be it there. So let's go ahead and take out the x, negative 4x squared minus 3, and there's going to be 3 of those. So leaving behind in that first term is a 9x, and then negative 4x squared minus 3, we'll leave behind one of those, plus, minus a 32, 3x cubed plus 1. And again, we can start to simplify if needed. That's negative 36, x cubed minus 27. Let's see, that's 6, 9, x cubed minus 32. Let's see from here. Let's keep simplifying. So we have 96 and 36. Let's see, that's 12, 1, so that's 10, 13, so that's negative 132. Negative 132. Let's see, that's 9, and 5. You could, if you wanted to, again, take out a negative because they both have a negative associated with them, um, as well. That is if you wanted to. So we can take out the negative, change these to positives. And that's just among some things that we can do. So that should be it.